Hey gang, how you doing? Jonathan here for Tailhunter Sportfishing, and it's time once again for the Mexican Minute La Paz Video Fishing Report, coming to you from La Paz, Baja, Mexico, and covering all of the fishing action for our Tailhunter Sportfishing fleet for the 8th through the 15th of June 2021. Wherever you are, hope you're doing well. Thank you for checking in, and please do us a big favor, give us a like, and please subscribe if you like what we're doing, okay? Listen, before we start and do anything else, let's jump right into this week's fishing gallery because that'll give you a better idea of what was going on this week. Take a look at this. Okay, so what do you think about that? Looks like a pretty good week of fishing. And I'll tell you what, the beginning of the week was pretty good. For the last 2-3 weeks, we've had some incredible, excellent fishing. We've had all kinds of variety over with our Las Arenas fleet. The Dorado bite really took off about the last 2.5 weeks or so. Some of the best Dorado fishing that we've seen in probably decades here. And as I've mentioned before, I think a lot of that had to do with last year having everything shut down because of COVID. No one allowed in the water, no sport fishing, no commercial fishing, no kayaking, no scuba diving, no snorkeling, nothing, no booze cruises on the water. And I think that had a lot to do with the good fishing that we've had. But you know, like everything else, you ride that roller coaster at some point, you're riding the top, and then at some point you got to take a dip down. And that's what happened this week. Most of the fish that you see in this week's fishing report, I'll be really honest with you. You know, I try to give you the straight scoop all the time, but most of those fish and most of those photos, unfortunately, came earlier in the week. Everything was going along really well. Everybody's really turned on. Everybody's, you know, the sun's out, the sand is white, the water's warm. And then boom, something happened, and this is what happened. The winds came up. We have a little bit of a stormy disturbance to the south of us, and it brought in quite a bit of wind, and we really haven't had a wind situation. If you follow our fishing reports every week, we really have not had a windy situation that affected our fishing for probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. Usually the winter months are the months when we get these strong winds and blow us off the water. Well, that's what happened this week. These winds came up from the south, and I'll tell you, our Las Arenas fleet, towards the end of the week, there was a day we actually could not get on the water. Strangest thing, here we are, we're in summertime weather, and we had winds that blew us off the water. No one could even get on the boats for our Las Arenas fleet. Our La Paz fleet, they went out as well that same day. Did not have to come back. Everybody got on the boats, but here's what happened. Right where the channel is, right where all those sargasso, all those kelp patties are floating around holding all the Dorado, that got hit by these southern winds, but we also had western winds colliding, so you had this mix of waters and wind hitting, splashing, people getting wet, boats getting filled with water. I don't mean in a dangerous way, but it was not comfortable out there. Some of the boats came back early. They did get into the Dorado. Some of the boats had stayed out a little bit later and hung in there, gamed it out through all the rough weather. They got Dorado as well. But then the next day, because the waters were turned over, because there was a lot of turbulence, the waters got dirtier, the waters got a little cooler, and that really took a hit on our fishing. The Dorado bite, which had been so good for so long, really took a dip down. I mean, we were getting easy limits for the most part for the last 2.5, 3 weeks. It dropped down to 1 or 2 fish per boat towards the end of the week as far as the Dorado are concerned. Over at Las Arenas, once these winds blew away, the waters calmed down again. It was still a little blustery, but at least we were able to put folks on the boats, and they got out, and once again, that variety that we've seen for the last couple weeks really came back on. We're getting Pargo, Cabria, Amberjack, which is real unusual because Amberjack are cooler water fish. We got a nice bite on Amberjack. A couple of tuna we're seeing out there and hooked, but not kept on. We had a couple Dorados, some nicer Dorados starting to move south. So our Las Arenas boat's still getting a lot of variety. If you're coming down and you're really not sure where you should fish with Jonathan's Las Arenas fleet, or should I fish with the La Paz fleet? If you're fishing one day, I'm still going to tell you the best bet is to fish with our La Paz fleet. Get in on this Dorado bite because these fish are running 10 to about 30, some 40-pound fish. We're also seeing some marlin. Had a couple really nice marlin hookups this week. I'll tell you, when you're fishing with 30 or 40-pound test because you're chasing Dorado, and then suddenly you've got a 2, 4, 5, 600-pound marlin come up on your light line, it's not always something you want to have happen. It's really exciting, but then you realize what's going to happen. And fortunately, these fish did not stick, but still very exciting and good to know that the marlin are moving in. So if you're going to fish one day, my recommendation to you would be stick with our Las Arenas fleet, get on a Dorado bite, a better chance of bigger fish and more fun. If you're going to be here for a few days or you're looking for variety, fish with our Las Arenas fleet. Go out of Muertos Bay, get in on some of these Cabria, these Pargo, these yellowtail, or not yellowtail, but amberjack. A lot of big Jack Crevalle there. We've still got pompano there. Dorado are moving in, starting to see some marlin. There's still roosterfish. If a lot of folks are still asking, are the roosterfish still around? Well, we're not getting those big hogs that we were getting maybe a month ago, these 80, 90, 100 pounders, but there's still some 50, 60 pounders out there, and we're still getting, because we're using sardines for the most part, we're getting 10 to 20 pounders. So if you really want to get a roosterfish, stick with our Las Arenas fleet. If you've got a couple days, usually what I say, fish one day one side, one day the other side, and then your third or fourth day, you tell us what you want to chase. So anyway, that's kind of a quick wrap up on what's going on. Just want to give you a heads up that fishing it wasn't as good as it has been in the past. It did take a dip towards the end, but just want to be straight up with you. The winds today, after putting the boats out, looks like the winds have calmed down a bit. Everybody got out. Hopefully everybody's going to come back today with some good reports, and I can pass it on to you next week. Anyway, quick wrap up on what's going on. That's going to do it for the Mexican Minute. Wherever you are, hope you're doing well. Take care of each other, and please do us a big favor. Give us a thumbs up, like, and please don't forget to subscribe. You take care of yourself. Thank you for checking in. God bless. We'll catch you next week.